2, 1.
Right. Good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, who are uh, participating for this special session organized by the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. So we would like to welcome each and every one of you, and of course, our guest who's present here as well. So I'll be introducing him shortly. But before moving on to our main topic and all the interesting things about this session, let me just, as your moderator for this session, let me give you a brief introduction about the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing is the apex body for Sri Lankan marketers and a pioneer in marketing fraternity in the country, which has a history of over 50 years in the Sri Lankan market. The institute, which was founded in 1970, was subsequently incorporated by an act of parliament in 1980, recognizing it as the national body for marketing education in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing is a member of the Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry of Sri Lanka, the Federation of Marketing Research Institute, and the Asia Marketing Federation, which is affiliated to the World Marketing Association. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that introduction about the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, without taking any further ado, let us move on to the most interesting or the main part of this session. Now, the reason why I said that this program is a special session organized by Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, because we are addressing a topic which is so timely and which is so important at this stage due to many various reasons. So all these will be spoken by our guest who's present here today as well. So when it comes to enhancing your skills in the services marketing sector, Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing thought that this would be a great topic to talk about with an experienced and a knowledgeable person who has been in this field for a very long period of time. So that is exactly what we are going to do today, ladies and gentlemen. So if we look at the current world, the transformation of the economy towards the service sector can be easily seen, even in Sri Lanka, that can be seen all the way around. And as consumers, if we consider ourselves as consumers, most of our daily routines and choices are either directly or indirectly associated with these services. So therefore, it's important for these businesses or for the people who are involved in these businesses to know or to possess some kind of a sound knowledge about what service marketing is and how to identify the needs of the customers, how to address the latest techniques and strategies which are actually involved in this services marketing sector. And as I mentioned earlier, we have the perfect gentleman here today with us to talk us through this topic. We have an experienced professional in this field, in the services marketing field, with wealth of experience and knowledge, and he's ready to discuss with us, about some key areas of services marketing and of course his experience in the field as well. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Mr. Fawaz Nizamdeen, Deputy General Manager, Customer Experience, Airtel Sri Lanka. And I would like to welcome you, sir. But before that, there's a short message for all our participants. Now, with Mr. Fawaz Nizamdeen going on with this presentation, if you have any questions regarding what he's going to mention in the presentation or about anything about the services marketing sector, feel free to drop those messages in the Q&A box, and we would be able to direct them to Mr. Fawaz at the end of the presentation. Right, over to you, Mr. Fawaz.
Okay. Thank you, Oshada, for the introduction, and also thank you, Slim, for inviting me today. So it's my pleasure to discuss my experience and what we do in this time, and also to help the participant to understand what all are part of this service marketing. Right, so let me share my PPT. Oshad, it's visible for you, right?
Still no, sir.
Just let me know once it's ready.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now it's okay, sir.
Okay,
Okay.
right. So, what is service marketing? So let's start with a small introduction into service marketing. So, if you look at services in these days, so we can that's large array of services, from the telcos to insurance. So anything a customer takes in. So there are services combined with it, right? So I'm from the telco industry, so we are a communication services provider. So actually, what we are dealing here with the customer is something more than services. What we deal with customer is the experience. So when it comes to experience, it's how a customer perceive your organization. This customer's perception ranges from start to the end. Say, for an example, uh, how he felt when he enters your organization, how he felt, how you greeted the customer, how he felt, doing a transaction with your organization. So these everything is to do with customer's experience, right? So when it comes to experience, see how I perceive one matter and how others perceive another matter, it's two different things. So the experience cannot be same for each and every one. So that is the basic principle that we need to understand, right? So let me give a small example. This is a good case of FedEx, right? So we all know FedEx is a logistic partner or courier company. So what FedEx did, so when they set up their offices, they looked into strategic locations. Say for an example, they had a lot of customers who comes and drops the parcels or the whatever that they need to courier. So they placed their outlet closer to airports, right? So a lot of people used to fly in, drop it, and go because they had a lot of customers of corporates and everything. So, but FedEx saw some problem, right? So what they did was, they wanted to do a small research on this. So when they get into details, they managed to identify there were two types of customers. One type of customer they call like the frisbee, where you throw and then it comes back. So what these frisbee type of customers, they come, they just drop it and then just go away. So they had no problem with this set of customers because their experience was perfect, convenient. The FedEx outlets were located in the most convenient places. Everything was sorted for them. There was another set of customers who they termed as confirmers. So maybe could be part of some of the participants over here. Maybe like me. When we are trying to courier some of our documents, we want to be very sure. Whether this is going to reach the destination, right? That could be most important documents. So what these confirmers used to do is they observe the settings. They just don't go and just deliver and come. I mean, they just don't go and drop it and come. So they observe everything, how it's treated, how their package was taken, everything. So when these confirmers went into a FedEx outlet, what they saw was the leaning tower of packages. You can just imagine, right? There is an officer to ready to accept the packages. Just right next to him, there is a big leaning tower of packages. So this was a problem for confirmers. When they saw that, the big pile of packages, they were worried. Will my parcel or the luggage or my courier will reach the destination? Will it get lost? So this experience, this perception of the customer made them to take their business somewhere else. So FedEx saw this. Okay, now this is a problem, right? Now customer is perceiving in a different way. Even though FedEx had the best track record of delivering timely, accurately, none of those matters. Why? Because for the customer, what they felt is most important thing. They took the business to somewhere else. So what FedEx did, they also did a brainstorming session, how we are going to do it, and then they changed it completely. When the next time a confirmer walks in, he saw a nice gentleman or the officer ready to take the order or the luggage or the courier. So they took everything, they scanned, and then they just turn, and they there's a big small hole. They send the parcel inside that. And for the confirmer, he saw that experience. He was very sure that his courier is on the move. But the best part was, there was a small hole. I told there was a wall. What lies behind that was the same leaning tower of packages. But the difference was the customer did not see that. So this is what we are talking about. This is the experience where we are battling these days, right? So now if somebody asks me, Fawaz, how can we ensure customer gets this experience, right? So we all know, a lot of marketing students must be here, that we all are used to hierarchies, Maslow's hierarchies and everything. So I'll also explain you the simple things when it comes to experience. The basic of the experience is it has to meet the need. So what is this meeting the needs? Say for an example, let's take mobile phone, right? From my experience, when a customer needs to reload, meet needs means when the customer does the reload, he gets the reload. That is basic, right? So then when you need to get an insurance, you go, you get an insurance, right? That you have an insurance. That it's not the proposal was not given, or there was nothing in between. It's just like ones and zeros. You want something, you get something. So this is the basics of principle. If there is something wrong here on this stage, meets needs with, that is utter failure. Just imagine when a customer wants to make a call, he can't make a call. That's an utter failure. When a customer wants to make a reload, then if he did not get that money credited to his account, that's a failure, right? But just giving this particular part, the meets need part, is not going to give the best experience, right? Because anybody can give this. Say for an example, any operator can give a reload, without making any issue. Any insurance company can give, right? Any courier can deliver. They just meeting the needs. But this is not going to be enough for a customer's or anybody's experience to go. What comes next is also important, whether it's easy. Now, if we take the example of reload, imagine if one operator's reload is easier than the other operator, then definitely the experience is going to improve, right? So when you're trying to do some, and then if that task is easy for you, as opposed to someone else, which is not that easy, definitely the experience is going to change, right? So this is the another most important area on the experience, how easy for the customer to deal with your organization. So when it comes to ease, right, there's a lot of things happening on this particular space, right? So we are talking about how convenient for a customer to make faster checkouts, faster reloads. Does a customer needs to come to your organization to get the services done? Can he do it online? So say for an example, now we would have seen the let's take banking, right? All this time when a customer wants to get a money out, either the customer needs to go to the bank, or customer needs to visit an ATM to get the money out. So how it's easy when it comes to as opposing to going to the bank and going to the ATM. Sometimes you have multiple ATMs, and also we have seen services of a few of the banks offering. You don't need to even go to the ATM, right? You just open the app. You will be able to either order the money to deliver to your home. It's ease in this time of need. So first, as I said, meets need, and then one step ahead is making it easy. So again, giving these two steps are also not going to ensure the customer is going to get the bestest experience, right? So the next is the most important part. Did the customer or whoever enjoy the service? So making the service enjoyable is going to be the tip of the iceberg. So how can we ensure the customer enjoys that experience? Say for an example, how can a customer makes a reload? Now let me take an example of reload, because it's if we all do reloads or make payments, so that we can easily relate to it. Making a payment is just a basic need. Can we make it online? Is it easy? Can I use my own card? Or do I need to have a different card? Is my app can make this payment? Do I need to go out? All these factors make it easy. So what defines enjoyable? Say for an example, when I make a payment, right? I get an instant discount, or I get to know what all my balances, or even we can say if there's an error or something, it tells what's the issue, and it tries to correct itself. So my experience of making a reload is enjoyable. So if I'm dealing with an operator or a service provider, any of my experience, if my say let's take any of the journeys, we'll come into those terms if time permits. So any of these journeys, if it's enjoyable, then we can assume that's the best experience for the customer. Okay. Now, why this experience is very important, we need to understand. If we look into the what had happened all this time, right? In in the olden days, it was all about manufacturing. In between 1900s and 1960, whoever was able to produce more goods, they were the most successful company. May be it Ford, Sony, because it was all about the economies of scale, how fast they can manufacture and everything. They were the dominant force. Then what happened was the whoever could distribute, we call it age of distribution, where people who had global links, who had a best distribution, who could deliver their product and services in different part of the places, then they were the most dominant part of organization. Then what happened was the age of information started. Whoever is having information, we do still have bits of age of information dominating, but whoever is having more information, this is the era where we talk about the connected PCs, who owns the information. They were the dominant because they knew everything about you. But nowadays, everybody knows everything about you, right? Say for an example, now people must be wondering sometimes. You go to Facebook, you search something. Say for an example, you go and search iPhone 13. Then you go to Facebook, and then you see pop-ups of iPhone 13 coming up, different organization. You go to Google, there also you are being followed. You go to Insta, everywhere this age of information is there. But if you see, everybody will be going, 5-6 organization must be advertising iPhone 13. So now we are dealing with this age of customer, where the customer is having the demand. His demand, who is able to cater for the customer, is only is thriving these days. If you look at organizations like Netflix, who are more customer centric, who understand the customers. They recommend movies based on customers. The customers' experience of using Netflix as opposed to something else is completely different. So we need to understand what is the age we are dealing with. It's all about the customer's experience, right? So with the small time that I have, if somebody asks me, how can we ensure this experience for the customer is something that he wants it. So what we do, even in my organization, I tell what we do is we have 6 principles where we work out on. So if I go into these disciplines, the very first important thing is the strategy. Right? I do understand this is little bit of theory part, but I'll try to quickly go through with few examples, because you need to have a strategy. When it comes to your experience strategy, it can't be different to the organization strategy. So let's take an example of uh, let's take the example of an automobile, right? BMW's strategy of custom experience has to be different to some other automobiles. Let's say Altos or whoever is delivering AMW's strategy, right? Because if you look at it, the customer who's going to come to these two organizations differs, right? So even in our case, we have different segment of customers, right? We need to understand to whom that you're going to serve, how you are going to serve. Because, say for an example, the best experience, if I say the best experience is the personal service, you have, each and every customer gets a personal assistant from, let's say Airtel. Can I deliver this promise? Now, let's say, we have 5-6 million customers. Do I have 6 million people to give personalized service? No, we can't, right? So we can't have a strategy which is not practical. So we need to have a strategy which goes in line with the organization. So say for an example, any organization will have 80-20. You will have your top notch of customers where you give the personalized service. Then the rest of the customers you give a different service. So in our example, even we have 3 types of customers coming in. We have 3 different strategies for our customers. Some customers, wants us to be like an advisor. They call and ask, I want to make, online reload, how it can be done. We serve as an advisor for those customers, right? If they don't know what is the best package for me, or what is the best services for me, what you recommend, we be an advisor. Then when it comes to some customers, they want us to be a companion. They come and tell all their troubles. Look, this is what happened for me. I have this problem. Then they expect us to be a companion for them. The third part, the first we spoke about advisor. Second we spoke about the companion. Third part, he who see the organization or the advisor as a hero. He said, Mashang, I need to make a call. My line got disconnected. Can you help me? I need to do something. Look, it's not working. Can you help me? So you need to have strategy to look into these different types of customers, right? Then how you can't make strategy without understanding the customer. This is very important as students of marketing and everything. You need to understand the customers very well. How are we going to understand customers? Because you can have questionnaires, forums, surveys to understand customers in a more structured manner. Also, you can understand customers in the ethnographic settings, where you could see what are they talking about you on the Facebook or the social media, what do they tell about you, right? So how do they do? Say for an example, when you ask a customer to go and do a reload, how that customer is doing a reload? How is he doing an online reload? You understand the customer from the customer's perspective. This is very important, because nowadays we don't understand the customer, because we understand it from our end. We look into customer customers from the numbers. We think this is what the customer wants. What that is an approach what we say as inside out. We think this is what the customer wants and they give the service. What we recommend is outside in approach, where we understand from the customer, from his view, and then what we do is now next is we design the services. I'll give a small example in the shortest time. When we wanted to launch 4G services, right? So what we did was we designed the service. How we saw how many customers are having 4G devices, how many of them will be able to use our network, and then we design it way ahead, right? Say if we are going to launch the services in like 4 to 6 months, then we start designing our communication to different types of customers. How are we gonna induce them to upgrade their phone and everything? How are we gonna help them to latch on to 4G network and things like that? You design your experience based on the customer's understanding, again keeping in line with the strategy of the organization. Nothing will work. Say for an example, you have designed everything is perfect, and then if you do not measure whether it's happening as you want. Say for an example, I gave you a small example of customers latching onto our 4G network, right? We had different strategies. Now we saw how many people are latching onto 4G, or how is your call center's performance? How is the quality, right? Or what is the AHT? You can measure the experience based on a lot of things. One of the measurement is you have the descriptive way of measuring with all the information that you have, and then you also can measure the customer's perception, where we do surveys and everything. So again, coming back to we have designed, we have measured and understood. Now say take an example of 4G customers. We saw right, X percentage of customers have latched on to 4G. No, we have measured. Will this gonna solve the problem? No. So then comes the governance part. Now when you measure the experience, now based on that, if that measurement is below the expected threshold, what are you gonna do? Say for an example, you measure a customer's experience. That's a disgruntled customer, right? You designed your experience for the customer to vent his frustration, or maybe to send an email and everything. This customer is not happy. If you don't have governance or methods or processes to handle that part, tackle that part, then again the experience is not going to work well, right? So there was an interesting example of Lego, where they measure the customer's experience of visiting the store. They've designed everything. Instantly when a customer was not happy, as per their measurement, they got an email saying X customer was not happy. They had the governance so strong. So their governance was, if there's any unhappy customer, the store manager has to call. That was the governance of Lego. So what they did was the store manager immediately called the customer to understand, sir, madam, we understand there was an issue like this. Can you explain? That governance helped that organization to improve the customer's experience. So even in your organization, if there's measurement, you have to ensure that there is governance to continue that. So the last part of this is the culture, where you train the customers. Sorry, you train your employees well. You have a morning huddles, the briefings, how the customers are treated, and then you also share the stories, and then you have rituals. It's all about the culture what we have within the organization, which helps all these 6 disciplines of the experience. So these are the in the short amount of time I was able to explain you. So these are the 6 disciplines what we do in order to ensure the customer gets the bestest experience. Oshita, over to you. If there's any questions that we could take it from this point onwards.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for that wonderful presentation. I think our participants also enjoyed it as much as I did. Right. So now, before moving on with the Q&A session, Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, and we all thought that it would be important for our participants to get an idea about the CSM program or the Services Certificate in Services Marketing program offered by Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. To give a brief idea about the program. Yeah, right. So now if we talk about the certificate in services marketing program, ladies and gentlemen, offered by Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. Well, we all know that Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing is the pioneers when it comes to marketing education in Sri Lanka, and they offer the only specialized certificate course in services marketing in Sri Lanka. Now, as you can see on your screen, all the details regarding this program. Now, this course is designed to introduce the changing nature of the services marketing sector, concepts and strategies unique to services businesses, and provide skills in managing services efficiently and effectively. So the course is the course duration, as you can see on your screen, is 3 months, and the course investments and the paying methods all are there. There are 3 modules that you have to cover, and once you complete the CSM program, then you can move your way towards PTDIP or the CIM program, both offered by Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, and then of course you can pave your way towards an MBA qualification as well. So ladies and gentlemen, these are the information. If you need any clarification, you can always contact the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing as well. Now these are the numbers from Colombo. You can contact Gaya Shani at 070 333 6189, and from Kandy you can contact Danushka 070 333 6188, and Nipuna on 071 612 3969. So those are the numbers, so you can call them and ask anything related to the CSM program on how to enroll and any other related information and get yourself enrolled in this program. Right, so now moving on to the Q&A session. So the participants, they can also direct their questions through the Q&A option given to them. But I would like to start this with a very simple question, Mr. Fawaz. Now, most of the people, when it comes to understanding about these marketing strategies, is what are the kind of main differences in terms of marketing a product and a service? I think so, you're muted. Right now, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Audible, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
So when it comes to marketing a product, right? It's you have like we have we've been talking about all the 7 P's, 4 P's. It's about the physical element of the product. That's something from the product side of it where you can do. Right? So when it comes to service, the key element is that you are looking from the customer's perception point of view, right? Even how the customer is to gonna look into a service from his view, it differs because the customer's mood differs, customer's mindset differs, customer's knowledge level differs. So for an example, when a customer, we have different types of customers. Some prefer making an online reload, right? Because of their knowledge level or because of the ability to make online payments and everything, it's something differs from them. So a customer who can make an online payment, a customer who can't make an online payment, who relies on traditional ways of going to a store and making a payment. These two people have different perception about your organization, right? For one person, how easy it is for to make a payment online. He'll be able to go through what is the URL he could easily remember. Once he goes to the URL, how many steps that he need to do? Does he need to go through like zillions of steps to make a simple payment? Does his card he say, for an example, we have different types of card, Visa, Master, Amex, but his card is it possible? Or nowadays the things are changing, right? Now customers are having different apps, different banking apps. Can they make payments of that? That is how he is going to perceive your service. The next person who's not accessible to, who does not have these online method, how he is going to perceive your services is his roadside kade is having your card. How far that he needs to go to get a reload, right? Because that is what he is going to perceive. So the marketing a product and marketing a service, it's two different things, right? Let's take an insurance also, or beat anything, even courier, anything, because we speak to the customers experience. Experience is not just in heart, it's the cognitive part of it also, because customers do calculations and everything, how they feel, everything comes into the picture. That's why it's two different elements. I'm glad that Slim is also touching base on this services sector. It's a different ball game altogether. It's not just going and placing a product in different shops. So whether how, because on the product part of it, we learn different things of the shelf, where you place it, how bundle it, that's a different ballgame. When it comes to services, we are talking about dealing with emotions, dealing with behavior. That's a different ballgame. So it is very important in this era, because now everybody can do packaging or the delivery distribution. Everybody can do the same thing, but who can give a different experience? That is going to be vital going forward.
Yeah, now you mentioned about the services marketing being very much different from marketing the product. So when it comes to marketing your service in a let's say in a highly competitive environment, for an example, like the industry that you are in the telecommunication industry, the competition is high. So what are the, I mean, if we take an individual or a small scale organization, if they want to succeed in a competitive environment, what are the steps or some factors to consider in order to to market their service in a successful way?
Okay, so so we call this how an organization goes into customer experience maturity, right? The first thing is you need to understand. First thing that you need to understand, there is something called experience, where we need to deal with, right? So the phase one of it is we can uh, talk about improving. How are we going to improve? Right. The easiest way is to improve any of the experience mishaps is to find and fix. If you find a problem, you go and fix. But when you're fixing, don't fix it just for that moment. But when we do, we say on design and all, we call this as root cause analysis. When we fix a problem, we see what's the root cause. Will it happen again? Will there be any chances this could happen for a different journey for a customer? Say, for an example, when we are trying to fix a problem, let me take an example of again reload. It's easy. Say, for an example, there is some connectivity problem had happened. Do we have similar journeys where similar problem can happen? We go into those aspects and we fix those things. So the phase one is find and fix. The next one is what we do is we transform into a different, where we go into the customer's issues, where we find solution, where we have robust processes, where we have good governance and everything. Where you know that there is an issue, then you change your organization's workways to suit this customer's experience. That is what we call transform. The most important thing is the third step, which is to sustain. Say for an example, now when you give an experience, right? Again, I'll go into the same reload experience. Now those days, what we spoke about is just three cards. Let's say Visa, Master, and Amex. Anybody had these three cards. Where the customer should be able to make a payment. That is how we say, for an example, we found a problem. Say a Visa or a Mastercard customers can't make payments. We fix the issue by allowing Mastercards to make payments. That is find and fix. Then what we did was we transform into different processes, and how we do, how a failed transaction, how we handle, how a refund, how we handle, how we go into issues like when an IPG failed, how do we communicate to the customer. Those are different part of transform. Now the third part is where we say sustain. How are we going to sustain is that is totally different. Now see, since with the experience is improving, the customer behavior is improving, how are you going to sustain on this reload or the recharge journey? By allowing different apps to make payment. How are you going to allow different apps to connect with your app, or connect with your portal of recharging, right? There are many apps. See, now if you look at it, if I take the bank, right, some say Q app, Zolo, Free. There are a lot of apps coming in. Now if you don't have a third option of sustaining this, then you will be left with the old part of Visa, Amex, and Mastercard only. Since you want to sustain this, you are compelled to go into connecting your services with these apps, so that the customer's experience of reload or whatever is improved. This is just a small example. How these are the three steps that we need to follow.
Yeah, now since you touched the experience part in that answer, now when it comes to understanding the prevailing situation in the world and even in the country with this COVID-19, the pandemic situation, now without a doubt, the service sector, they're facing some challenges, right? So the individuals who are engaged in these services and big companies, so they all face some challenges. So do you think that experience, it plays a role in understanding how to face these challenges, and how to find solutions for these challenges?
Definitely, okay. Now see, this during this pandemic, the customer behavior is totally different, right? Even what we saw was the e-commerce side of it was soaring. We saw lots and lots of traffic coming in. See, when you see this experience is changing, where more customers moving from traditional to online, that brings your entire organization into picture, that you need to ensure that you have built in enough traffic to flow in to your whatever the infrastructure, that you have planned adequately the manpower, whatever that is needed to serve these customers. Because the behavior change, because now if you look at it, now most of our customers, they prefer online, and then they don't even want to visit an outlet, right? So when they don't want to visit, we call this whatever which needed the physical proximity, whatever requires the customer to visit. Now there we see a problem. The customers, they don't want to, because there is a need for physical proximity, because that during this pandemic, that's not the greatest idea. This requires the organization to quickly change the processes where it required a customer to visit an outlet, to move into more digital side of it. How quickly that you can move your processes from the legacy way of handling to the digital way of handling. Those organizations manage to capture the market very quickly. because purely because of this custom sentiment change, the behavior change, because they are now they're more cautious about their safety. They don't they want to do everything from their place, because how they perceive into different services, it was totally different. So during this time, because of the experience of the customers is what is the most important thing. The organization needs to change their experience methodologies, whatever that they were giving all this time, they need to sustain it to deliver during the pandemic era as well.
Yeah. Now, shifting our discussion into a whole different level now, Mr. Fawaz. Now, Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, as we all know, is when it comes to marketing education, they are the national body, and they are the pioneers of marketing education in Sri Lanka. Now, so now, as I mentioned in my introduction, Mr. Fawaz, now if we consider Sri Lankan context, lots of people and even the services sector, it provides a considerable contribution towards the national economy. So if I say that having some sort of a qualification, or a sound knowledge about the theories, some important theories and all, is important for individuals who are engaged in this service sector, or at least the people who are at a decision making level. Do you think that getting that theoretical knowledge and getting that qualifications, are they important in terms of contributing your success towards the company that you're working on, for your own company and all?
Uh, yeah, Oshid, I think that's a very important question, and it is very important because my 15, 16 year experience on this industry, we learn a lot of things by our own experience. We did our own research. We had to, because of this was something new, because where the behavior and everything was changing, where we had to do a lot of things by on our own, because there are a lot of trial and errors sort of situation happen. But now if you look at it, I'm glad a lot of places have understood, a lot of organizations have understood the need for this, and then like Slim have taken the initiatives of delivering these things. Because if you look at it, this knowledge is going to be very, very important, because you're going to deal with people. Because on this, I'm pretty sure where on the course where you will be talking about the personas, because different personas you need to deal with, right? In our examples, we have customers who are using smartphone, and also in telco sector there are customers who are using feature phone, right? You can't give the same experience to both the customers, right? We call it these different personas, right? And there'll be customers who will be using a smartphone just to make calls and send SMS. And there'll be customers who are using the smartphone for everything. Some they do trading, some they are they does teaching or learning. So you need to understand different personas of these customers, and then once you understand them, then you can deliver the services. This is the program. When I went through your curriculum, what I understood was that you all have merged these two together, where the knowledge of marketing and the knowledge of experience of the personas, how the journeys are being done. This is wonderful. I think this is what is needed in this moment, because if you look at this country, we post pandemic, we are going to get pretty sure a lot of services related businesses, or jobs going to open up. And lots and lots of countries in the western, where because of this impact of post pandemic, what they're going to do is, there's already started on cost cutting and everything, so they will be wanting to get the services done for a uh, affordable price. So there is, already we Sri Lanka is part of this BPO culture and everything. So we forecast there's going to be lots and lots of need or the request going to come towards this country. So having this set of knowledge to understand when to deliver, what to deliver based on the experience. I think that's going to be vital for all of us.
Yeah. Now, since we are running out of time, there's going to be just one question now. Now, this would be the last question, right? So, Mr. Fawaz, now, if you look at the past decade or maybe anything around that time period, we saw that with this evolving nature of the customers, we've seen like big companies heavily utilizing their resources into analyzing part. That has become a major part on how to understand the customers, what are the upcoming trends and all, forecasting and analyzing. Do you now, if I say like this, not only for these big companies, but even for a small scale, individual who's engaged in a service sector or for a small scale company, that analysis it plays a big role. They should invest in analysis on the customers and the market trends that are going on at that particular time. So would you agree with this statement?
Yeah, definitely, because there's no doubt uh, on this particular part. Because if you see, the analysis gonna from experience perspective, we do a lot of analysis to put customers into, as I said, different personas, right? And also we do analysis to see which journey the customer takes, right? What are the cohorts that we have to deal with. So this is not specific to large organizations like ours. Even for a small scale business, it's very important for you to understand what are the segments that you are dealing with, what are the cohorts that you are going to communicate with, right? What are the personas, what are the journeys going to happen. Say for an example, which services is, say, if I take an example where we do a lot of analysis on which journey takes the longest time to fulfill, right? So when one particular journey is taking a longest period of time, there can be possibility that journey might be causing little bit of problem for customers from their experience, because nobody wants to waste their time, right? So this analysis will help you to understand, uh, as I said, the descriptive part of the problem, where where you have the time and motion studies, how long one process takes, and also you can do surveys to understand the customer's perception or experience. We also do surveys like NPS, where we call it Net Promoter Score, where we ask the basic principle from the customer: will they recommend our product or service to a customer? So Oshada, sometimes you might have a problem. You have a tendency to tolerate, and you will tolerate. Say that you have a problem with a product. Let's say hair dryer. I can't use. You can use, right? Uh, Say that if you have a problem with that, you might tolerate that. If I ask, will you recommend this to your friends and family? You might not, because you recommend that, and if there's a problem with that, they will come and catch you, right? So NPS is something that we measure customers experience. So with that, now how are the customers experience on one side, and then also, like you mentioned, you can analyze what all journeys or transaction these customers have done. Then you map these and see which journey is scoring the lowest with all these analysis, and then where to go and fix. This is, as we spoke earlier, the measurement part and the governance part. So it's a very good question, because analysis is very important regardless of the size of the organization. Even if it's a small scale organization, small and medium enterprise, yes, you need to analyze which segment, which experience the customer is getting, and then design and deliver your services and the experience.
Right. So With that, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to conclude this session. So once again, special thanks goes to Mr. Fawaz Nizamdeen. Despite your busy schedule, thank you for joining with us today. He is the Deputy General Manager, Customer Experience at Airtel Sri Lanka. So, sir, once again, thank you for joining with us today for this session.
Thank you Steve, for having me as well.
Yeah. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we would like to conclude today's session. So, once again, a huge thanks goes to Mr. Fawaz Nizamdeen and then, of course, all our participants as well. So, with that being said, I think you got a good idea about what services marketing is, and then of course about the CSM program or the Certificate in Services Marketing program offered by Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing as well. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, with that once again, I would like to conclude today's session. Thank you for joining with us today and stay safe.